Couldn't play a time, couldn't play a tune, couldn't sing a tune, you know. And my teachers would tell me, well, it's a nice song, but you're singing out of tune. And I'd be like, you're crazy. And then you take more of your training, you listen back to your young things, and you go, crap, I was singing out of tune. They were right, you know. And so you do get better and better, which is thankfully something, especially if you're here. But to feel bad because so-and-so doesn't like your stuff, or to think that you shouldn't be doing it because nobody likes your stuff, I don't think that's healthy at all, you know. Even some of the businesses and things that have sprung up on the internet that say, send your songs here and pay your subscription and we'll give you a critique and we'll shop your things and we'll place them in movies, and you get all eager and you pay all this money, and they send you back one rejection letter after another and telling you, like, the title sucks, the lyric sucks, this sucks, you know, you're like, geez, well, you know, but I'm a professor. And my friends tell me, you don't need this type of criticism, you should not subscribe to this thing anymore, you know. And I'm like, oh, you're right, you know. So it depends who you're asking, you know. Maybe they didn't have a good enough breakfast and they're just so tired and they don't hear, they're not even listening to me fully. They're answering phone calls. I don't know what they were doing.
I just find, how do you reconcile, like, when you're in your day-to-day life, you like do the laundry, you go and you get all this stuff, and you're kind of in that work mode, the like doing, and you don't have time to smell the roses and all that stuff. How do you, and then I get home and I kind of feel like, you know, I'm still in that mode. How do you reconcile those two parts of yourself?
That's a great question. I think you give yourself music as you'd give yourself vitamins, you know, and you let yourself have it, because if you're here, chances are good that it's the thing that feeds you the best. And you let yourself have it on the most pleasurable terms you can. I think that really matters. Flow, ease, and pleasure. Those are my 3 watchwords. You know, flow, ease, and pleasure. So even if you snatch 10 minutes to just pick up your guitar or play the piano or noodle around or sing in the shower, and you just feel still that you're busy and you're part of things and that you're being nourished, then you can keep going until you can, you know, find a big island of time. But I think I'm recognizing as I get older how much happens in very short amounts of time. 5-10 minutes, you can make a quantum leap forward. You don't need to clear your whole Sunday afternoon to do things that matter. You do them honestly. Like, I do a lot of songwriting while doing the dishes. I really do. Things come into my head. I think, again, rhythmic housework, walking for me is a big one. But just making sure that is such a part of your identity. Never let it go. That's who you are, right? You make songs. You are a musician. There's nothing that should ever take the place of that. You know. You owe it to yourself. It's why you came to planet Earth, really. You know, so you never have to let it go entirely. I hope that matters. I hope that helps anyway.
Oh, I thought it was brilliant. That's why I'm so thankful that I met Kate, and why I have the opportunity to teach here, because I'm constantly meeting new creative people that are inspiring and inspired to create things, and it's so important. So many of my friends that I grew up with have stopped writing.
Right.
If they were poets or songwriters or even musicians, they've stopped playing. Life got in the way, and they don't know the way back. As much as I try to encourage them, they won't take the time to go back. And I find that so sad. And I get emails on Facebook like, wow, so nice to see that you continued with your playing. And this is like, why would I ever stop? It's so nice. It's so essential to me. It's like oxygen and eating, and I just find it so important. So.
It's funny because it is portrayed as the exception to the rule, to keep going. Like, people will sort of expect, you guys are young and starting, and they'll think, well, you know, eventually they'll settle down. I hate those words, settle down. And then music won't matter anymore because they'll get into the business of real life. I don't see why that should ever have to happen for anybody.
No, it doesn't in other countries. They stop and take a break from, you know, being the bricklayer, and they're, you know, they're like, come on, let's go, take out the bandolin or whatever, you know.
Right.
They, you know, music is everywhere in those places, but here it's like, no, you have to be amazing, otherwise you don't deserve it, and that's just not true.
I think it should be everywhere.
It should be everywhere. Show us.
Well, Steve was asking. Oh, yes, please.
Tell us.
When I make a song, like I compose, I write the song through the skills I already have, and then when I think about, I mean, I'm still in the process of growing. I think everyone is.
Yes,
but,
everyone definitely is.
So when I listen to the songs that I wrote in the past, like I always find like some weakness or oh crap, like I can still make it better right now. And then when I think about that fact, like I always think when I feel like okay, I work on making the song, but I also sometimes started feeling I think for the future when I look back, like I'm gonna think that I can make this current situation better, and then like my motivation is kind of fading away. So like I think like from my understanding, like instrumental skills and the other like harmonies, knowledge and that collaborates like all this stuff into the song, but like I cannot make a song that I can't play or I can't express or I don't know. So like how would you suggest for that?
I think I understand what you mean. I think we can stretch though, and you might get something that you have to teach your hands. Your head has an idea, or your heart has an idea, but you have to teach your hands to do it. And you just do it a million times, and you get exhilarated because every time it gets a little better. And you just keep doing it. And then, like I teach Irish, as we were saying, and I tell my students to read kids' books, and then to try to read a scholarly article, and then to read a little bit from the newspaper, and then to listen to lyrics, and to really move around different difficulties so that you can coast a little bit, and then you can push, and you can coast, and then you can push. You keep stretching.
When do you know like when it's finished? Like for me, like I feel like it's never gonna be finished, and then like even a week by, I can change it. So like even in the class, like sometimes like I felt like I came up with a good idea, but like I knew like in that moment also like that's still gonna be better, and then at this point it's gonna be crap. So I don't really want to show it to you.
I think you can live with it, and I think I'm thinking of poets here. Poets often publish their poems in books, and then later, for the 20th anniversary, they've revised it completely. And so it shows that the poem is still alive for them. So I think when you can't bear not to play it out in public, you should play it, and let it continue to speak to you, and maybe it will still be changing. But you'll have a feeling, I think.
I think there's two sides to it. Learning to trust yourself and say, well, if I like it and I do want to say it's finished, it is. Just because all my teachers are saying it is, it doesn't mean, like I'll finish things, when I was a student, I'd finish things to please the teachers, get my A, and then go back and do my own thing the way I want to do it. Because that's my vision. If I was co-writing with them, I'd have to make some concessions there, and if they were writing their own thing, they might do something else. That's fine. But that's why I don't like to grade or critique things like that, because I don't know the difference between this is what I would do and this is good. And you did it a different way, and so it's bad. It's not. And then the other side of it, I think, is allowing yourself to understand that you are an evolving being. We think we're nasty human beings because we're never satisfied. That's not the truth. The truth is we're constantly growing and
Learning about
learning, and we're constantly wanting more. That's how you progress. That's how you go through time. That's how societies grow. You're supposed to be a little dissatisfied so that you will try new things. You don't want to get complacent and bored and then atrophy. You want to keep learning. So part of your dissatisfaction is just, it's time to write another song. It's okay to keep going. That's the point.
I like this part of the discussion, though, talking about evaluation and remembering that evaluation is preference. I don't care what anybody tells you about that.
Yeah.
When people say your poems are not good enough to be published in this, your songs are not good enough to, that means I don't like them. And that is one person. And that has taught me a lot. I have had that experience of having poems rejected in one place and accepted in another. And when I was your age, I was very confused by that. What does it mean? Are those people wrong and those people right? And then I understood later, it is purely preference. So all of that good and bad, I think, can be neutralized.
Think about it
You know.
in terms of like even setting up your own apartment or your